Hey guys, so sorority recruitment is right around the corner, and I wanted to give my tips for going through recruitment. It's a long process and it can be really emotionally stressful, and it just kind of determines, like the next 4 years of your life a little bit. Because if you end up deciding you don't want to go into a sorority at all, or if you go into one sorority you don't like it, or if you go into one sorority and you love it, it really can boil down to just this 1 week or 2 weeks of your life. So I'm just gonna give a couple tips that I kind of gathered while I was going through recruitment, and also just my personal opinion being on the other side of recruitment now. Number one, I think it goes without saying, is like, be yourself. You don't want to pretend or try to become a different version of yourself to get into a certain sorority that you think, oh, they might like this, because then you're gonna just have to keep pretending to be that person throughout your time in that sorority, and that's no good. You want to feel comfortable being yourself no matter where you are. So talk about things you like. Open up to the recruiter that you're talking to. Try to find connections with her. You want to have a place where you connect to people and you like them and they like you. You don't want to only want to be with a group of people because they like what you think they like, Number two, ask questions about the chapter, about the sorority, about their bylaws, their finances. They have times where they sit you down, they ask you questions, but then they ask, oh, like, do you have any questions for us? They're trained to answer those for you. So, like, ask questions like, how expensive is it? Like, would you, like, about your philanthropy, ask about their philanthropy. Is it something that you feel comfortable talking about? Like, is it something that's personal to you? Ask about their house. Ask about like their events they put on every year. Like, ask about sisterhoods. Like, just really dive deep, because once again, you want to be in a sorority that you feel comfortable in. If one sorority has philanthropy A, and that you're really close, and it comes down to home for you, that you've been involved with, for years, you might like that sorority a little bit more than you would like philanthropy B, than something you've kind of heard about but you're not super, like, involved with. You want to keep that in mind. Another tip that goes kind of off of this is that you want to stay open-minded to every sorority you go into. I know a lot of people go in like, oh, I want this sorority. I only want this sorority. I want to be in the top sorority. I want to be in sorority A, and then they go through and they're at the house B, and they're talking to them, and they're blowing them off, and like, oh, well, I really want sorority A, so I'm not going to talk to you that much. Don't do that, because you might end up being cut by sorority A, and now you're either stuck at sorority B again, and they're not liking you, and so you get cut completely, or, you just lost a whole sorority that you might have liked in the first place. So be yourself and keep open-minded to every sorority. I know there's one sorority, maybe on campus, that keeps open-minded to everybody, and they don't cut. But they only cut people who go into their sorority like that. Like, oh, I don't want this sorority, this is the no-cut sorority. Well, don't do They want as many, like, they want genuine people, and every sorority does, and word gets around during recruitment. Like, if you're being mean and nasty to one sisterhood, they can easily go to the next and be like, they're not, being nice to us, so why should you guys take them either? So, be nice. My next tip, I think this is tip 4, I don't know, is avoid certain topics. So along with the myths of a sorority is just about partying and, being pretty and all that stuff, don't go into recruitment only wanting to be in a sorority for the parties. So don't, during recruitment, talk about partying and talk about boys and talk about drinking and drugs. So that there's an easy little ism to kind of keep up with that. No booze, no boys. a lot of people add on no Bible with that, and as a religious person, I don't care either way, whether if I'm talking to a PNM or as a PNM I'm talking to somebody and they mention their religion. That's not, like, that, for me that wouldn't be a red flag, but I can see where other girls would be like, ooh, no, I don't know about her, she's like super religious, or I don't know about her, she's not religious at all and she has a thing against, girls who are. So just kind of go with your way, but like, don't talk about fraternities, don't talk about your boyfriend, don't ask the girls about like what fraternities they're paired with. 'Cause I think some campuses, fraternity and sororities are paired, but on my campus, it's depending on the event and the year, like you get paired up with so we have a whole FSL kind of feel instead of just like, oh, these two are together, these two are together. And every sorority girl will have their preferred fraternities to hang out with, but like, and then there's some girls that don't hang out with fraternities at all. So you gotta keep up in mind, like I said, but don't talk about alcohol, drugs, boys. Personally, I would even kind of stay away from tattoos if you have a tattoo, unless your recruiter has a tattoo and you were like, oh, like, can you talk about your tattoo? Like, that seems, interesting to me, whatever, and you like share about that. But don't go in and like, oh, I just got this tattoo, like, you want to see it, kind of thing to anybody, because some people will be like, oh, I don't know about that. Another tip, be presentable. You want to come in to recruitment with your, like, hair done and makeup done, but don't go out of your way to be this, glamified version of yourself. Like, if you're not like that every day, if you don't wear a full face of makeup every day, don't go into recruitment wearing a full face of makeup. Like, for special events, I put on, some foundation and stuff, but like, as you can see in my videos, every day I'm not wearing a ton of makeup. So, for recruitment, I did, a little bit of this, and some days I only did concealer, and some days, because there's one day that's a little bit more, fancier than the rest, I did a full face of makeup. I curled my hair, or I put my hair up. So, you want to be the best version of yourself, but if you're not comfortable wearing a ton of makeup or curling your hair or straightening it, then don't. But I would suggest that even if you don't bathe often, you should probably bathe before this. And you're going to be tired and exhausted. Next tip, keep up, like, just keep going. It's a long process, and you're gonna want to keep like chugging and talking, and your throat's gonna be sore, and a lot of the houses will give you water and drinks and stuff, but if you're starting to like slow down, you're like, oh, I talked about my major 500 times, I talked about my hobbies 500 times, ask questions to them. Like I said, ask questions, get the girls to talk a little bit more, like have them tell about you, because then you're not going to feel so exhausted, and you're going to be hearing the same 4 things over and over again, or talking about the same 4 things. I got pretty tired about talking about dance all the time. So I would ask about their philanthropy, and a couple of the philanthropies were really close at home for me, so I got to learn a little bit more about the sorority that way. So that's a great tip to keep going, especially between I think some people call it events or parties or like house meetings. Like, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, take a vitamin C every night so you don't lose your voice, you don't get sick, because you're going to be meeting a lot of people and everybody's going to be mingling and germs are going to be everywhere. Like, wash your hands. Also, make sure, like, your recruiters' names, and like, make sure you can easily recognize them later, like, especially if you get into the sorority, because then, like, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, you recruited me, like, you helped me like this sorority so much, whatever, and like, that means a lot to them. I will personally say I do not remember who recruited me almost at all for any sorority except for my big at my own sorority. Sorry, I'm like chicken, because it's a tiring time. That's kind of all of my tips. Along with being, like, looking nice, is like, I know a lot of people require like a certain t-shirt to wear. Dress it up, be cute, be fun, flirty. But yeah, same with talking about like the tip about talking and like avoiding some things. Don't cuss. Please. Just be nice, be polite to everybody you meet, no matter what sorority. And yeah, if you like this video, subscribe down below, like it, send me a comment, and if you want to see more of me, my ads from other social media accounts are down below, and I'm going to be coming out with a couple more videos about sorority recruitment, later throughout the summer, and then right before, and then during, I'm going to be coming out with a couple videos about like encouraging girls to keep going, and or if you get cut, like my experience with getting cut from like the sorority that I really wanted, and just making sure you guys like stay pumped and keep going. So yay. Yeah, so if you want to see that, subscribe like I said, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.